In a world where Gen X women are literally trying to understand menopause and just survive out here, and Jesus must be the center of everything we do so we don't end up in jail.
We want to reserve a place where we can address our hot flashes and most definitely everything the Holy Ghost has laid on our hearts, all at the same time.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Elena.
So come on, let's talk about it. Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hello. Always be catching us off guard, right?
Welcome back
To our show.
Yes.
One day we're going to write a jingle.
We are. We need to.
Yeah.
Listen, can we just talk about the fact that Michelle got a new car this weekend?
Oh, I did.
Or actually, did you get it Friday or Thursday?
I got it Thursday.
Thursday. So it wasn't this weekend. It was pre-weekend. She got it Thursday.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. It is.
Look, I feel like it could have been a Gremlin from 1976.
But it's not.
And I would have been excited to have something to drive around because it's been like 5 years since
car.
I've had a car.
It's a fancy car. She got a fancy car.
She has a fancy car too.
Now so do you.
It's nice.
It's very nice.
It is nice. I ain't
Very
gonna lie. I
nice.
be rolling and I flip my hair. I ain't got no hair, but sometimes I go like this. It's a whole attitude.
It's nice. Yeah. So can we just talk about that? Yes.
I could actually meet you for things.
Right? It's fancy. Yes. What do they call them? She got a luxury car.
A luxury vehicle. I asked Matt, I was
What?
like, why is the insurance so expensive? He was like, because luxury vehicles cost more. And I was like, what?
Yes.
Anybody told me that?
Yes, they
He
do.
was like, all of them. Cadillacs, Lincolns, Range Rovers, all the things. And I was like,
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yes.
But I guess it's more expensive to fix them.
And I was going to say it's more expensive to fix them too.
Yeah.
Which is why Cadillac gives you this, they have their own thing that they do, which is why mine's going over there tomorrow because it's time to change the oil and do all this stuff and da-da-da. And so for the life of the vehicle, you take it over there because if you don't and you try to go somewhere, oh, yeah, it's not. You have to go like donate blood or something to pay for a kidney. I don't know. I mean,
Jesus.
yeah. Anyway,
Bless it. So I do have wheels, yes.
yes,
And it's nice.
it's very nice. It's exciting.
It's got one of those. You have it too, that panoramic moonroof.
Those are so cool.
Yeah. And I was sitting there and I was telling Matt, I'm like, why doesn't it open? He goes, Michelle, where's it going to go? And I was like, dog, I never thought about that. I was like he moved the screen back and I was like, okay, we'll open he goes, it doesn't open.
Where's it going to go?
And I
The
was like,
whole roof is panoramic.
that's what he said. He was like, it's the whole roof, Michelle. Where is it going to go? And I'm like,
Good point.
I had never thought about
The
that.
front piece of mine opens, but the back doesn't because
This
where would
one
it
doesn't
go?
at all.
But
I mean-
yeah, the little part of mine in the front slides underneath, but that's
Nope.
it.
Not
Tom
a-
doesn't like to ride with it open.
not
I
an
do.
air bit.
I'm like a teenager when I get in there. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open the sunroof.
Open the sunroof.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Jam into some music.
Yes.
Well,
Anyway,
today's a continuation.
yes. This is the last of the questions that we
Yes.
have from the Q&A,
Yes.
which was so fun.
So fun.
Yes. And you and I were just talking about this before, but real quick, shout out. I got to give one to my friend Kim. She does the Kingdom Women Bible study in
Yes.
Batson. This past Saturday, not yesterday, but Saturday before, was the January one. And she's doing a study in Daniel. But she's on YouTube. It's Kingdom Women Bible
Yes.
Study. She's Batson, Texas. She records them. And when I tell you the last two, she did Daniel 1, and then this past one, she did Daniel 2. You need to go listen because
I started it.
it was phenomenal. So, yeah, I just happened to think about
She's
that
awesome.
earlier. She is awesome.
She really is.
She's awesome.
She is. You are.
Yeah, you are. She listens to us
Yes, she does.
faithfully every week. But, yeah, Daniel, I mean, obviously we know there's a lot going on in Daniel.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
It's a lot to be learned.
I was there at the last one, and then I listened to it again Thursday or Friday, and different things came
Yeah.
out of it. Like, it's that kind of Bible study.
Yeah.
So anyway, and she keeps them about 30 minutes. So it's not like you can listen. It's a quick listen.
Yeah.
But there's a lot packed into that 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's good. So anyway,
Yeah, go listen.
quick thought about that.
For sure.
Ladies conference is coming up.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes, it
We're
is.
going.
It's going to have the best music.
Yes. It's going to have the best music.
The best.
Not just because of my sister and her team, but because
It
it's
is
my sister and her team.
It's her sister and her team.
The best. And the speakers this year.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about that?
It's some good speakers.
Listen, if you're not going, you need to consider going.
You do.
No, they didn't pay us to say this, but get your ticket and
No.
go.
Yeah. I did get registered.
Yes, we did.
Did.
We're going.
We're going.
We got a hotel motel.
Hey, and next year, maybe we won't be a vendor.
Yes, maybe we'll be a vendor next year. We got some
Maybe.
exciting things coming this year, y'all.
Yes, we do, y'all.
Exciting.
We do. We need you to get excited with us.
We got merch coming.
Yes, we do.
We got merch
And
coming.
don't worry, Carly. We got you because we're
Yes.
going to get you a shirt.
Got you.
Yes, I got a shirt coming for you.
They are coming, so be
Yes.
on the lookout. We're going to have a whole website.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
In the meantime, let's get to these questions.
Yes. Let's get this started.
Get this going here.
Let's get it started. Oh, that's not a Christian song.
Oh, yeah, it's not. Now it's stuck in my head. Thank you. This question is actually addressed to you,
Oh,
Sister Michelle.
Jesus.
How are you so outgoing? Do you ever struggle to talk to people? No. I love your PS. I love your personality. How are you so outgoing?
Whoever this is, thank you. Wait, go back and read it. What?
How are you so outgoing? Do you ever struggle to talk to people?
No,
Nope.
I'm not a confrontational person.
Yes, we know. I'm the confrontational one.
So I don't really like dealing with the bad stuff. So, but at a very young age, I would say probably birth, I came out of the womb loving to talk and loving to hear myself talk. I used to go to the fireplace and I would stand on the fireplace and I would unscrew the knobs off of the fireplace poker and all that stuff.
Yes.
And I would either use it for a microphone or I would use it as if it was an award. I was receiving an award and I would give like a thank you speech. But before I did any of that, I would collect all the people in the house and they would all sit in the living room. And I loved hearing the things that I'd talk about and I loved saying them to other people. I'm sure people were aggravated with me, but I grew up just loving to entertain.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I wanted to be a Disney kid. Thank goodness I didn't.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Thank goodness
Them
that
kids
didn't
be
work
struggling.
out.
We praying for y'all.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
But yeah, I genuinely love people, and so I think that a lot of what comes across as me just being outgoing, which I am outgoing.
Yeah.
That's part of my personality. But I do genuinely love people.
Yes, you
probably
do.
too much.
Sometimes yes. Sometimes yes.
But it's not a struggle for me to talk.
No.
It's not. I could talk the paint off a wall. Literally.
We both like to talk. That's probably why we're such good friends.
Yeah. It's both a
Yeah.
blessing and a curse.
But you have the ability to meet somebody one time and she'll remember their name for the rest of her life. Like,
Yeah. When I make a connection with someone, I like,
but you do that with everyone.
Yeah, I really
You
do.
have that ability. It's a gift. It really is. Because I can see you and see your face and, you know, I might see you a week later and that face is familiar, but I don't remember your name. And I might not remember where I met you. I just know you look familiar. She will be like, oh, Melissa, and go running up to that person. And that person's like, you remember me? Like, and that person's really like, wow, they feel, it makes them feel that you
Yeah.
love them and they're special and that that is really, truly a gift.
that part of me is not something I've always had, that particular part.
Yeah.
That's something that God gave me after addiction. I think that I struggled to feel loved during my addiction, which is a shocker, right? Because that's just part of
Right.
it. And so on the other side of it, that was like a part of ministry that God gave me that, you know, we don't talk about the ministries that don't have titles.
Right.
But most of my ministry is ministry with no title. And I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But that was part of what God put in me to do. I think that it's very, very important to me for people to feel like I love them, because I really do. Like, it's not fake. And when I say I love you, like, I mean I love you, and I'm going to do my best to try to remember who you are. You probably sitting there like, ooh, I hope she don't remember me, because this conversation been like 42693,069 minutes. But I'm going to remember you, and we going to have another long conversation next time I see you. So, and I just like to have fun.
Yes.
Like, I think that I think that the Bible talks about power in numbers. It's always talks about things. Well, why can't the power come from laughter and good times too? And I think that don't get me wrong, I like being alone sometimes, but I do love being with people, and I love laughing, and I love like doing that with people.
Yeah.
That's part of who I am.
Makes it fun.
How do you raise children in a way that allows them to hear from God? Not saying no to everything, but allowing them to find out some things on their own. That's not an easy question to answer, because you
Read that one more time.
How do you raise children in a way that allows them to hear from God, but not saying no to everything, allowing them the freedom to find out some things on their own?
Well, that's a hard question. I really, depending on the age of the child, I mean, if they're teenagers or whatever, and you want them to pray and get it for themselves while you're praying with them and whatever, there's a certain value in that to a degree. But I feel like it's our job to be the police as parents.
Yeah, especially if they're minors.
Yeah, it's our job to say no. It's our job to not be popular.
Yeah.
It's our job to not be their besties.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds however, but y'all, we live in a day and age where parenting is not even parenting like it was when I was a parent, when we were parents. And there were some years there where we got it wrong. But in my kids' early years, I was present. I was a parent. Like I did all the things.
Yeah.
And it's about them knowing and trusting that your relationship with God is stable.
Yeah.
And that you are hearing from God, and you are walking that out, and you are being that example to them.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest part of it.
When you do say no.
Yeah.
And you have an explanation, because kids want to know why.
Yeah.
And do as I say, not as I do. Okay, well, what are you doing?
Yeah.
If you're following God and you're following that right relationship
watching.
and you're walking it out, okay, then that phrase should not be part of your parenting strategy.
That's probably the worst parenting.
Yeah. Do as I do should be your parenting strategy. Hey, you struggling? Let's build an altar.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody picking on you at school? Let's build an altar.
That's good.
I mean, hey, your friend's parents are getting a divorce and her life's in a mess, and they coming to you and want to talk and you don't know what to say. Hey, let's build an altar and pray for your friend. Mm-hmm. That should be the answer every time.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to go do this, but the word of God says this about it, and so I'm going to have to tell you no, and you don't understand why? Let's build an altar.
And the more altars you build, I think that you're going to start seeing that your kids are going to grow into this place physically and spiritually, where they're going to start learning what to even ask you, if they can do. I'll use Logan as an example. I've watched Logan grow a lot, and things that he used to ask me if he could do that I would have to say no to. I watch him. He doesn't ask me for those things anymore. He's learned and watched me enough, and learned from the times that I did say no, because I think we have to be careful sometimes too that we don't owe our kids an explanation. So please don't misunderstand me. As a parent, I don't owe my child an explanation as to why I say no or yes or whatever. That's not what I mean. However, there are valuable things that come with explaining why that's wrong.
Absolutely.
Sometimes sometimes we say no and then we don't explain why it's wrong. So they just walk away and think you're the bad guy.
And resentment starts.
Yeah. And they may still think you're the bad guy, even when you give them an answer. And that's okay. I don't mind being the bad guy. It's not that. But what I don't want is I don't want my child to think I'm the bad guy just because I want to be the bad guy. I want them to think I'm the bad guy because I'm trying to save them from some things. They may not understand why. They may not understand the depth of it. But I do think that when you are having to tell them no, especially if it's no because spiritually this is not something that the people of God, they don't have a part. They don't take, they don't do this or do that.
Yes.
I think that it's important that we do go back to the word of God and say, look, let me just tell you why we don't.
Yes.
One of my kids' friends asked me if I listen to secular music, and I said no. And and I explained to them, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I don't.
Yeah.
So this is the life I used to live.
Yeah.
And music was a very big part of that lifestyle. Very big part.
Absolutely.
Do I think you're going to go to hell for making a good dinner for your husband and lighting some candles and playing some Kenny G or some Lionel Richie in the background? Look, Matt over here looking at me like, you won't do that. No, I don't. But I don't let myself get consumed with music that is not about God just because I know where God brought me from.
Yes.
And that's a door that I shut, and that's a door that I don't want to ever open back up. So I don't. So it's not that I owed this person an explanation, but I did feel like there was value in explaining, because when I explained why, they were like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Sure.
It wasn't well, I'm better than you, or I'm a dictator, it was, so I do think that that's how they learn.
Yes.
And as parents, we're not just tasked with the responsibility to tell them yes or no. We're also tasked with the responsibility to teach them.
Yes.
And that's an important part of teaching.
I grew up with a lot of resentment about a lot of things because you were told, no, you can't do that. No, you can't. And not just by parents.
Yeah.
It was just from the top down.
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
And don't ask why.
And don't dare ask why, because wasn't nobody going to try to tell you.
Yeah.
But you know what I learned, and this is nothing against my parents. My mom and I have talked about this, and my mom, if she were sitting right here, I would say this. You know what I learned as I got older and as I started trying to heal from some of those things and learn why that resentment was there and work through some of that? It was because they didn't know why.
Yeah.
They just been told no by this person,
by their parent,
by that person that told them, by that person that told them, by some man that made a rule because it was a personal conviction and it really wasn't a rule at all. And it just got passed down and nobody knew why we couldn't do it or why we didn't do it. We just didn't do it.
Yeah.
So don't hide behind that. If you're telling your kids no about something that is spiritual in nature or something, you need to be able to explain why to them, because if you can't, there's gonna be resentment there at some point, probably sooner rather than later, especially if you're dealing with a teenager or a preteen, not a little child, and they're gonna want to know why. And if you don't know to tell them, then guess what's gonna happen down the line when they're not with you, or when they get the opportunity to try it, or they get and the enemy will put it in their face. Believe me, he will. Ask me how I know. And I'm not going to say I still wouldn't have made the choice. I don't know.
Yeah.
But my choice might have been different had I known why. And had I had an explanation and known consequences in the moment that I was told no. And I'm not blaming anybody. My mom and I have talked about this. And my dad, too, before he passed away. So there is a validity in explaining to your children, especially the spiritual side and with the word, why you're saying no.
Yeah.
There is. And I will stand on that.
I agree.
From now till Jesus comes back. Do you owe them that? No. The Bible don't say, parents, you must explain
Give
your
them
children.
a reason.
But think about it when they're asking you, because you best believe if it's something the enemy is trying to tempt them with, and you say no and you don't give a reason, he's gonna put it back in their face.
Yeah.
And he's gonna do it at a time when you're not there.
Yeah, because we're training them. Proverbs says that train up a child in the way they should go. And if we're training them is teaching.
Yes, you've got to explain some
teachers.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, sometimes there is no explanation needed. Sometimes it's just no, I'm saying no and move on. But
thank you.
A lot of times, consider explaining, because it's important. And that will also build a relationship with you and your child.
They'll learn to
no
trust
matter
you
how little they are. They'll learn they can come to you and they
Yeah.
can trust you. And they will also learn that spiritually, you're going to always make the best decision for them, or help them make the best decision, even if it isn't the decision that they wanted to hear.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
there's that.
I
Anyway.
agree.
Oh, there's a lot on here. So the first question is how to move on from church hurt. Well, I heard something so good on this the other day.
Talk about it.
So good. Listen, that term church hurt, we use it a lot.
We do.
We do. We overuse it. Because a church didn't hurt you. A person did. Mm-hmm. We don't go around asking how we can overcome workplace hurt or career hurt or, family hurt. My family member hurt me or, whatever the case may be.
Oh, but church hurt. We talk about
But church hurt, we're going to talk about that till the cows come home. Why? The church didn't hurt you. Someone at a particular church might have hurt you, but they still just a person at the end of the day.
Someone who may have misrepresented God.
Even if it was a pastor, even if it was a person in leadership,
Yeah.
even if it was so you're going to do one of two things. You're going to let it consume you or you're going to take it to the altar and you're going to let God handle it. Now, God may move you from a church depending on what the situation is, and he may put you somewhere else. I've seen that happen, and it was ordained by God and meant to be because people mishandle things.
Yeah.
And people did hurt you. But let me tell you that if that person, whoever they are, hurt you in that capacity, well, don't think for a moment that they're not hurting people in other aspects of their lives.
Right.
That's who that person is. And when somebody shows you who they are, in the words of Maya Angelou, believe them.
Yes.
Like
one of my favorite quotes.
Yes, I love her. And the capacity of it being in a church setting is really irrelevant because the church is not in four walls.
Yeah.
The church is right here.
Way bigger than that.
It's
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
And it's all the members of the body linked together. And it's
Yeah.
so much bigger than we can even fathom. So just because a church name is attached to it, or that was where you were a member, or that is where you are a member, or however you want to connotate it, you have to understand, or you need to try to understand that people are people and they're always going to be people.
Yeah.
I have the type of job where people act crazy and they'll cut you to the quick with words. And I work with some wonderful people and I work with some idiots. People that just don't have any class. They don't have any tact about them. They can't spell Jesus, much less know who he is.
Jesus.
I mean, I'm just being real.
Can they
now,
spell
that ain't
God?
everybody. That's some of them. But you know what? I still got to work with them. So
Yeah.
you know what I do? I don't talk to those people.
Yeah.
I deal with them when I have to, but I've learned how to let what they say just roll off of me and go on. I don't let it hurt me. And
You don't
when
give them
it
the power
does,
to destroy
because
you.
sometimes it does, because I'm in my feelings, I immediately stop what I'm doing and I'm like, God, I need you to help me right now.
Yeah.
Because I get my feelings and it does hurt.
Yeah.
It does. But in the moment, if I give it to him, then I'm able to just roll on. Because I have to try to remember those people don't know him. They don't no more have a relationship with him than a man on the moon.
And there's people in our churches that don't.
And there are people exactly. There are people in your churches that don't. Just because they show up every Sunday, Wednesday, and on Tuesday night prayer.
They don't equivocate relationships.
Just because they run a small group don't mean they got it all together. I mean, I'm just getting real here.
Yeah.
I'm not bashing anybody. This is in churches throughout America. But you've got to understand that cannot define who you are and that cannot determine the salvation of your soul.
And you have to decide, do you want to get over it?
Yeah, because it is a choice.
Sometimes we talk about it in recovery class. Sometimes you have hurt or pain or whatever, and you don't know who you are without it because you've been leaning on it as a crutch for so long that it becomes part of your identity and you don't want to let go. I think that wasn't it how do you overcome, or how do you
move on?
move on? Okay. You got to decide, do you want to move on first?
Right.
Because if you don't want to move on, then you don't. You
Right.
ain't gonna.
You're gonna stay there.
And you'll find it in every church.
Yeah.
If you think that there's only a certain amount of churches or certain
Right.
kinds of churches that people get church hurt in, you are sadly mistaken.
No.
Because church hurt everywhere.
Exactly. And moving on from anything takes work.
Yeah.
Oh, you moving from a house to another house? You got to pack some things up.
Yep.
You got to get rid of some
You
things.
got to throw some things away.
Sometimes you give some stuff away.
Yep.
Sometimes you just donate some stuff or you throw it in the trash or whatever. Oh, so you trying to move on from being hurt? It's going to take some work.
Yep.
Same thing. We might not get past this question. There's 3 on this card, but we'll save the rest for later. How do you show yourself more grace when you're hard on yourself? Body image. Let me tell you what, you got to learn how to love yourself.
Yeah. You can't even do the Lord's work if you don't. I'll go as far as to say that.
Ooh,
and I don't want to sound like
good.
a hypocrite, but if the second greatest commandment is love your neighbor as you love yourself or like you love yourself, how are you ever going to love your neighbor or love the harvest or love the people that God's trying to pull in if you don't know how to love yourself? And people know you don't love yourself. They're going to look at you and be like, when you say, oh, I love you, they're going to be like, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. You ain't even love yourself. How you love me?
Exactly.
Like, that's the Lord's work.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And there's a difference in wanting to improve, and this specifically says body image on here, so I'm going to address that. In wanting to improve your health or your body or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a personal. That's if that's something you personally feel like, then that's fine. But don't let other people tell you, you should look like this. Why don't you look like this? Why do you do? Tell them mind their business.
Yeah.
I'm created in God's image and he made me. And so this is how I am.
Yeah.
Now, if it's something that's detriment to your health, then by all means, pray and ask God to help you get healthy. I'm not saying, because there are times when we're not healthy. There are times, and it used to just irritate the fire out of me when I was younger, because I was always a real skinny kid. I was always real lanky and skinny, and I would never could buy clothes for my age. Like I would always have to shop like a size under or 2 under
Never
what
had
I
that
should
problem.
been. And so, and we laugh and you say that, but at opposite ends of the spectrum. My best friend Kim and I have talked about this all of our lives, all of our friendship, because she's always getting healthy, or she's like, I want to lose this much weight, or I wanted this, or I wanted that. And she's a super hard worker and she's beautiful.
Yeah, she is.
And so that's a personal thing with her. And we always, but we talk about the flip side of that coin, because every time, like, I would walk in a room, a family that I hadn't seen in 6 months or 3 months or whatever, we'd be at a family event. You're so scrawny and skinny. When are you ever going to gain some weight? When are you ever going to, you're so thin, you're going to drop and blow away. Y'all know how, like, that messes with your head as a kid.
Yeah.
You want to punch people in their face. And then you start to think, well, is something wrong with me? Like, why am I?
It plants seeds of doubt, self-doubt and stuff.
So you want to talk about, so maybe if you're overweight or you were overweight as a kid on the other end of the spectrum, listen, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but being scrawny and being thin and having people constantly just say that stuff to you, it would make me feel some kind of way as a kid, and I didn't know how to voice it. And I felt bad for thinking like that or feeling angry about it, because I would think, well, my friend so-and-so gets picked on because she's overweight. Because I had a friend, one in particular that I'm thinking of right now, and I haven't seen her in a long time. She's such a great person. I love her. And we were friends all through our childhood, all through high school. And if she walked in that door right now, we'd hug each other and cry because we ain't seen each other so long. And she's still like, it's just how it is. But she would get picked on in school, and like I would take up for her. I would be like, and other friends of ours would take up for her, and like, and so I would think, well, I'm not going to say anything because she would cry, she would be so upset. And so I wouldn't say anything because I would feel bad, like, well, that, you really don't have an issue, but it was an issue for me. And I hated it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to and I remember after coming back out of recovery, I had gained so much weight. I was 88 pounds when I went in. I weighed 135 pounds when I came out of recovery.
Jeez.
I had never weighed that in my life. I was always 90-something pounds, hovered around 100 pounds. Even clean and sober, before I got on drugs, I hovered around 100 pounds, 100, 101. I was 88 pounds when I went into recovery. I gained what, 30-something pounds? No, well, in recovery, I gained like 50 pounds. Mm-hmm. So, but I gained like 30, 35 pounds above my normal weight that I was my whole life before that. So I was so proud of myself. My family was proud of me. Like everybody, my kids were like, Mom, you look so good, because I just looked normal. And I ran into somebody and they were, oh, it's so good to see you. When are you going to gain some weight? I said, when are you going to lose some weight?
Oh, Jesus.
My mama walked away and left me standing there. She was mortified. But you know what it was?
Please don't ever say
it
that
was
to me.
one of those same people in my childhood coming up that always commented on my weight and always commented on, and it would, as a child, I just remember feeling so about it. And in that moment, I had done been through some things. I had done been through a year of healing and recovery.
Yeah.
And it just came out.
Well,
You know what? She ain't
sometimes
seen nothing else about my
sometimes
weight
that stuff
ever.
happens.
But sometimes you just have to stand up for yourself and let that person know, or let those people know, if it is people. If it's the enemy speaking to you, tell him to shut his mouth.
Yeah.
That you belong to God and God created you.
For sure.
And love yourself.
Yeah.
If you got to get up every day and look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself how much you love yourself, do it. I'm being serious. Because there was a time when I could not look in the mirror. I've heard you talk about that.
Yeah.
There was a time when I couldn't.
Yeah.
I hated what I saw and I didn't want to look at it.
That's the truth.
And God redeemed me from that. And God can redeem you from that. You have to put the work in. And you have to learn how to love yourself.
Yeah, you do.
Learn what you like.
It's important.
Learn what you don't like.
Self-love is not selfish.
No.
And self-care is not selfish.
No.
I learned that.
No.
There's people that will tell you that I promise you that the first people that get mad at you for loving yourself or whatever, or for creating boundaries so that you can love yourself,
Yes.
they the ones that's taking advantage of those
Yes.
things. They the ones that's
They're the
speaking
ones
the
that's
wrong
getting the
things.
benefits.
Yeah.
And that's why they're mad.
So they mad because of that. But we're created in his image. So there's beauty in you no matter what. And if there are things you want to change, that's okay. Believe me, Michelle would like to shed some weight and I can do it. I just got to get motivated to do it. But at the end of the day, like, I have to love myself on a level where it doesn't keep me from doing the work of God. Don't let it doesn't define me.
Exactly.
It doesn't define me.
That's good.
The things I want to change about myself, it don't define me.
No. There's one more question on this card. How to handle teenagers who are just like you because you can't get the you out of them. It ain't about getting the you out of them. That's in there.
That ain't gonna change.
It's about getting them filled with him.
Yeah, get God in them.
And use, depending on their age, use what you know is in you that maybe they're not so good qualities, but maybe God has brought you through some things and you're on a journey, and so hey, this is a mistake I made.
Yeah.
Teach them. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable to them. Don't be afraid to be transparent with them. Pray and ask God to lead you and help you.
For sure.
Guide them through the parts of them that are you that maybe are not the best qualities or characteristics of you.
Yeah.
Ask him to change them, not change their personality, but ask him to change them in the way that they think and the way that they approach the things when they start exhibiting those characteristics or that personality trait that is detrimental because you've been there, done that.
For sure.
It's not about trying to get the you out of them. It's trying to get enough Jesus into them so that those personality traits and character traits and those things that you look at as defects, he can take them and turn them in to things that can build them and they can use to build others, because he's going to take it and turn it to the flip side.
Yeah.
That stubbornness that maybe you have, that you see they have, that strong will and that stubbornness that you made all the wrong decisions with and that you made some mess ups in your life with.
Yeah.
He'll take that stubbornness and turn it into a tenacity that is anointed and that is fueled by the Holy Ghost, and they'll be able to reach people and go places and do things that they never could.
Yeah.
Living in the stubbornness.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
he'll take that and turn it into a tenacity.
Yeah,
but they got to be filled with him. It's not about getting the you out of them. It's about getting enough him in them so that he can perfect it and they can walk in it the right way in the Holy Ghost through the word and be something and use it for good.
It's all about control. So if the right person has control, the outcome will be different.
Yes.
It can be the same exact thing, but the outcome will be different because the right person's in control.
Yes.
Or the
I'm
right
very
one.
much, I have to be in control.
Yeah.
I'm very much, I get that from my dad.
I'm a control
Everything has to be, and if it's not, I just lose it. And I'm just like, well, is that the right way to approach that? No, not in the flesh. But once I get that control and I give it to
Yeah.
him and I lay it at his feet, he's able to take control and say, okay, now I'm going to use you to
Yeah.
do this, 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 this.
Yeah.
And there are ministries that open up, and not even ministries. There are places that I'll be, or people that'll cross my path, and I'll be able to say, hey, here's where the plumb line is.
Yeah.
Hey, here's how you should line this up. Hey, here's how you should organize this. Here's the order that you should do this
Right.
in. Oh, you're feeling chaotic and scattered? This is how you should do this, and be able to do it through the word and through scripture,
Yeah.
because the control has been relinquished to him. And so now he has control, and that control is able to work through me, and I'm not working against him.
Yeah.
That's
For
what
sure.
it's about. That's what it's about.
For sure.
Anyway, well, I think we're done.
Yeah, I think we are
We
too.
have the time.
That's all right. More questions to come.
I know. We
At
have
a
a few
later
that we'll
date.
save.
Yeah.
We love y'all so much.
We do love y'all.
Thank you for joining us today.
Have a great one.
Yes.
See you next time.